Hello students, I Pallav Darbari welcome you all in my YouTube channel Pallav Darbari Classes. In this video I will discuss Macroeconomics class 12th. The name of the chapter is Money and Banking. This is my 6th video on banking. In this video I will discuss a very important topic, and the topic is Nationalization of Bank. This particular topic is very important from the competition point of view, and at the same time the short questions and the hot question can be framed from this particular topic, that is nationalization of bank. In this video I will discuss the political aspect as well as the economical aspect of the nationalization of bank. We will discuss the political and the economic aspect of the nationalization. Very important topic. Without wasting the time period, let's start the topic. Before going further, we should know that nationalization of bank in India, it was held in two phases. The first phase of nationalization was held in 1969, and during the first phase, 14 privatized banks got nationalized. I repeat the same thing, very important date, very important number of banks, please note. The nationalization of bank in India was held in two phases. The first phase of nationalization was held in 1969, and during the first phase 14 privatized bank got nationalized. How many banks got nationalized? 14 privatized bank. Those banks whose paid up capital is 50 crore and above, those bank got nationalized during the first phase. Later on in the year 1980, the second phase of nationalization was held, and through this phase 6 more banks got nationalized. The criteria which is being decided for the nationalization during the second phase was 200 crore. Those banks whose paid up capital is above 200 crore, they get nationalized during the second phase. And during the first phase 50 crore plus, and second phase 200 crore plus. First phase was held in the year 1969, second phase 1980. First phase 14 private banks got nationalized. Second phase 6 more banks get nationalized. In the year 1969, the great turning point came in a country, especially in the financial sector. Why in the year 1969 the great turning point came? Because in the year 1969, when Indira Gandhi was in power, nationalization was held for the first time in the Indian history, and 14 private banks got nationalized. So this 1969, this year was a great turning point in our country, especially in the financial sector. We should know the meaning of nationalization. What is the meaning of nationalization? According to the International Monetary Fund, nationalization is the process by which government takes over the private assets and bring them under the public ownership. So what is, in a very simple word, we can say that nationalization is a procedure by which private undertaking goes in the hands of the public sector. It means that after the nationalization, the private sector comes in the hand of the public sector, and they will get the tag public sector. When the banks were nationalized, it came directly under the Banking Regulation Act 1949. Before, the private sector banks are not under the direct control, but all the public sector banks or all the nationalized banks are under the direct control of Banking Regulation Act 1949. Before 1949, the government of India can't do anything. They can't restrict the banking business. They can't compel the banking company to give the loan to the rural people. The government can't compel. Why? Because the banks are not coming under the direct regulation of Banking Regulation Act 1949. They are not coming directly under the control of. So the government can't say anything, can't put pressure on it. RBI takes all the banks after the nationalization as a regulatory authority. So after the nationalization, what happens? RBI takes all the banks under its regulatory authority. Now let us see the situation before nationalization. Let us see what was the situation before the nationalization. Before nationalization took place in 1969, only the State Bank of India was the only public sector bank. We know that the old name of the uh, State Bank of India is the Imperial Bank, and the Imperial Bank got nationalized in the year 1955. So the only bank that was nationalized before 1969 was the State Bank of India, because it got nationalized in the year 1955. In 1951, always remember very important thing I'm telling you. In 1951, there were more than 400 commercial banks that work under the private sector. All the banks are mostly the private sectors, and there were more than 400 commercial banks. So more than 300 banks were failed between 1947 and 55. And if we see the rate of the collapse, we can say that approximately 40 banks per year get collapse. I mean, that is the data. The trend continues throughout 1950s and the first half of the 1960s. When I say first half of the 1960s, why I'm saying this thing? Because after 1960s, in the second half or after the first half of the 1960s, considering the seriousness of the situation, Murari Desai started the massive bank consolidation drive. During that time period, Murari Desai was the finance minister. He was the finance minister during the Jawaharlal Nehru reign, and till 1963 he was the finance minister. And during this period, he started the massive bank consolidation drive. And under it, what happened? The number of the bank he reduced from 328 to 65. How? By consolidating the bank, by merging the banks. Even today also we have seen that the Dena Bank and the Vijaya Bank got merged with the Bank of Baroda. This thing happening, yes or no? I mean, this is a routine procedure. So that thing also happened during that time period. And just to protect the bank to shut down, the Murari Desai started the massive bank consolidation drive. Even today also we are using this consolidation drive. When I say consolidation drive, it means that using the concept of amalgamation or the merger. Before the nationalization of the bank, consolidation drive was the very common practice. Just to protect the bank, it is being done. As I told you, even today, our 25th governor, very important statement given by our 25th governor. In the year 2020, our 25th governor, Shaktikant Das, had suggested that banks should be consolidated. If the government will get the good result, then the government should not go for the privatization. But even after the consolidation, the bank was unable to give the result. So the only option left to the bank is going for the privatization. Now let us see the economic relation behind the nationalization. Issues related to the reach and the flow of the credit to important sectors only. Banks were restricted to the big towns, and their presence in the villages were negligible, because of which the flow of the credit was very less in the rural areas. The banks are only in the big towns. We will hardly see any branch in rural areas. I mean, the problem is the same for the money. The farmers has to go to the money lenders. They have to go to the sahukar. I mean, the bank was not giving any benefit to the people, and they are giving the loan to the selected people only. This is the first reason. The second reason is bank were not giving enough credit to the agriculture and the industries. Very limited money they are giving to the agriculture farmers. The question is, bank always give the money on the basis of the mortgage, on the basis of the security. Mostly the farmers have they are having nothing for the security, so they are not getting any monetary benefit. For the upcoming industries, the bank is also not interested. They are not also not giving loan to them. They are giving loan to the retail houses only. That is the second problem. The third problem is banks were more interested in extending credit for credit. Next problem is the collapse of the bank was causing the distress among the people. We have seen that the collapse rate of the bank is 40 per year. So because of this collapse of the bank, the depositors are losing the faith on the bank. They prefer that they should deposit their money in the post office rather than depositing the money in the bank. Why? Because there the money is safe, because it is under the control of the government. I mean, the post office under the government control of the government. So the people feel if they deposit their money in the post office, their money will be safe. The next issue is the regional imbalance in the banking sector. In some places, more banks are there. In some places, the banks is totally absent. When I say imbalance, regional imbalance, always remember the banks are mostly being found in the southern India. I mean, north, no bank is there. Eastern side, no bank is there. So we can only see the bank only in the southern India. So there was totally imbalance in the banking sector. So before the nationalization, this is the situation of the banking sector. Now let us see the political reason. I personally feel behind the nationalization, the political reason was more as compared to the economic reason. Remember in the 1967, after the death of Lal Bahadur Shastri, Indira Gandhi became the Prime Minister of India. After the Lal Bahadur Shastri, who became the Prime Minister? Srimati Indira Gandhi. In the year 1967. After appointing the Prime Minister, she made Murarji Desai as the Finance Minister. During that period, the political authority of Indira Gandhi was very weak. It was not strong. She was just a Indira Gandhi. During that period, a group of leaders led by K. Kamraj and Murari Desai. I mean, these two leaders are very strong leaders. And if you don't know, I just tell you, K. Kamraj comes from the southern India, and he is very strong leader. He is having a good reputation among the people. And Murari Desai, I mean, he is having a name. So these two leaders were very strong leaders, and they are known by the name syndicates. I mean, these two leaders, they are having the followers, and they are known by the name syndicates. So they are recognized by the name syndicates. Congress party was during that time period was controlled by the syndicates, and the Indira Gandhi was being forced to toe their limit. I mean, if the Indira Gandhi has to take any decision, they have to approach the syndicates, and if the syndicate feel that the thing should be done, then obviously the permission should be given to Indira Gandhi. So her condition was very weak. Her political authority was very weak. The powerful person was the syndicates. The collapse of the bank were causing distress among the people, as I told you, who were losing their hard-earned money, because during that time period, uh, the subsidiary of the RBI, which provide insurance to the depositors, money was not there. So when the private sector's bank collapse, then the depositor will lose their savings. So because of that, the people are having no faith, or they are having less faith in going to the bank and depositing their money over there. There was complete distress among the people. They were losing. Why? Because they were losing their money in the absence of strong government support and legislative protection to their money. When I say legislative protection, we know that after the nationalization, what happened? The subsidies being developed, which provide guarantee to the depositors' money. Indira Gandhi saw a rare chance to become people's hero. If somehow she can protect the people's earning, if somehow she is in the position to nationalize the banking sector, she can definitely become the people's hero. And she feels that by doing this, she can make her political position very strong. She take it as a chance. So she thought that she should go for the nationalization of the bank. Let us discuss the events that led to the nationalization. This story and these events are seriously very interesting. Just listen. You might be knowing that on 3rd May 1969, 3rd May 1969, our president Zakir Hussain died, because of which Vice President V.K. Giri was made the stand-in president. When the president died, what happened? The Vice President became the stand-in president. The same thing happened. Then, after making the VP Giri as a vice president, as a stand-in president, the tussle was being seen between Indira Gandhi and the syndicate. While Indira Gandhi favored VV Giri, She wanted that VV Giri should become the president, and syndicate want that Neelama Sanjeev Reddy should become the president. So if Mrs. Indira Gandhi wanted the bank nationalization, then she had to do it before 20th July 1969. It means that if she wants that the nationalization should be held in the country, then the last date is, I mean, she has to do and she have to materialize everything before 20th July 1969. So on July 12th, Mrs. Indira Gandhi announced her intention at the Congress session Bangalore to nationalize the private bank. As standing president, Mr. V.V. Giri was to step down on 20th July. Indira Gandhi needed to get bank nationalized done on the 7 days. I mean, she called the conference on 12th May, and she knows that V.V. Giri will step down on 20th July. So she was having 7 days. How many days she was having? She was having 7 days. So she has to do the entire thing in 7 days. A draft ordinance was prepared on 18th July very quickly. She was very active, in fact. A draft ordinance was prepared on 18th July, and the day it was passed by the cabinet at 5th p.m. Immediately it was passed at 5 p.m. President V.B. Giri promulgated it, signed on it, and Indira Gandhi addressed the nationalization at 8:30 p.m. complete. And this particular thing or this particular event shocked the business community. But the common people was very happy. And in a toto, Indira Gandhi became the hero. With the nationalization, this news was tabloid that the RBI governor, during that time period, the governor of the RBI was PC Bhattacharya. So it was the news got tabloid that PC Bhattacharya was not happy and she can that he can give the resignation. But Mrs. Indira Gandhi convinced him. She wrote a letter to him and she convinced him. In this particular picture, we can see it. Now let us see and discuss the advantages of nationalization. Remember one thing, nationalization enables the government to obtain all the large profit of the bank as a revenue. Because of the nationalization, the government's revenue increased. First benefit. Second is nationalization would safeguard the interest of the people and increase their confidence. Because of the nationalization, what happens? More and more people are approaching the bank and they are starting depositing the money in the bank. So the confidence among the people also increased. Second advantage. Next advantage of the nationalization is that it remove the centralization of economic power in the hand of few industrialists. Because of this, what happened? It means that banks start giving loan to more and more people. So the centralization of the economic power get reduced. This nationalization also helped in stabilizing the prices. How stabilizing the prices? Because when the loan is being given to the farmer, the production increase, because of which the supply increase, and because of which the price of the necessity item start falling down. Next advantage. It also enables the banking sector diversifying resources for the benefits of the priority sectors. Earlier, the bank was not giving loan to the agriculture sector industries, but because of the nationalization, bank also start giving loan to the agriculture sector. Because of the nationalization, the green revolution given the result to us. If the nationalization was not held, the green revolution was not a success because the bank was totally unable to give the loan, and without the loan the green revolution can't do the miracle. The next benefit is it eliminates the wasteful composition and raising of efficiency of the working of debt banks. Let us see next advantage. It enables the rapid increase in the number of bank offices. When I say rapid increase, how this happened? Because the government said that if the bank want to open one branch in the town, then it is compulsory that you have to open 4 branches in rural area. Because of which the reach of the banks in the rural area increases. Banks start giving more loan to more and more people. And it becomes easy for the government also to distribute the money through the Jan Dhan Yojana. Financial inclusion becomes possible. Next is It enables the RBI now to implement the monetary policy, because when the banks were privatized, banks are not coming directly under the supervision of the RBI. So RBI cannot think of implementing the monetary policy. But because of the nationalization, it becomes easy for the RBI to implement the policies. Next thing is, it would replace the profit motive to the service motive. Earlier, the main motive of the banking sector was what? Earn profit. And the motive got changed after the nationalization. It would also secure the standardization of the banking service in the country. When I say it secure the standardization, it means that same type of the services will be provided to the people throughout the country. The service will, I mean, we will not see the variations in the services. That is another benefit. Let us see the disadvantages of nationalization. The first disadvantage of nationalization is political purpose rather than the productive purpose. The government has acquired strength over the financial service, and there is a danger of using the financial resources for the political purpose. Now what happens? The government only give the loan to that political part, to that business group which they feel the loan should be given to them. That is one problem. And because of this particular reason, most of the time we have seen what happened. Modi flee, Malia, Videocon corruption, fraud. I mean, this is because of the nationalization. And what happened? The government, in the year 2017, government decided that they will infuse 217 trillion rupees so that they can protect the banks from being bankrupt. That is the major drawback of the nationalization. The next disadvantage is the scope of efficiency. Listen, some are of the opinion that after the nationalization, bank will degenerate to the label of agriculture corporate, which is known for inefficiency and corrupt policies. The next drawback was less attractive consumer services. We know that the banks are not providing the consumer satisfaction. They are not providing the customer services. They are very rude toward the consumers. That is the problem. The next is branch expansion. It is normally being argued that the nationalization will help to facilitate branch expansion in rural areas much more rapidly than the private banks. But we should not forget, the bank can only be opened either by the private sector or the public sector where the new branches is economically viable. And the private sector bank or the private banks open the branches more quickly as compared to the public sector bank. So these are the disadvantages. Um, Dear viewers, that's all I have in this video. If you like the video, please spread the video, and above all, stay home, stay safe. I'm making all these videos for you. At the last, don't forget to wear mask. Om Shanti.